opera company, like right before I started college. So I was already working professionally. So
Singing?
Yeah, I was singing at the time.
I didn't know you sang. You sang opera. Oh wow.
I was their youngest singer by 4 years.
And you're not a fat lady, so so when you sing, the opera's not over.
No.
Yeah.
It continues on.
Yeah. In LA, a town that fetishizes the sun and the beach and everything that's colorful, has one of the biggest goth scenes, if not the biggest goth scene in the world.
I think all the big cities tend to draw to them people who want to seek out more and are less judgmental. The cities seem to be. They're more, it's a mixture of ethnicities, it's a mixture economically, it's a mixture stylistically, and it's a mixture certainly of subculture.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's a greater freedom in walking down the street in a place like Los Angeles, where they already have, Batman and Superman walking down the street, so a goth walking down the street, like, whatever.
Right.
Rather than, I walked down the streets of Cincinnati in white makeup and really felt like, wow, I really do stand out in a kind of strange kind of way.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me, but I also didn't feel necessarily a sense of camaraderie or belonging.
But you're in the right town because you're the ultimate multi-hyphenate. you are because now you're opera singer. I was here. You're a tea blogger, actress, dancer, probably model. I would assume.
Not much in the way of that. If it goes along with something else I'm doing.
Right. Well, I got a camera back in the hotel. We'll see what happens.
Oh!
But no, I'm kidding. But opera singer, regular singer. Now, puppeteer.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Tell me about puppeteer.
God, if you would have asked me when I was going to school to be a performer that I would be a puppeteer, I would have laughed. I never thought of it as, I love it, just like I love a lot of art forms, but I never saw myself doing that. And then...
Well, let me ask you, were you ever scared of puppets?
No. The only time it got a little weird was the first company I worked for, they had the meeting room with the big table was lined with puppets that were like right at eye level, hanging off of this bar. So you're there late at night and you've got like a whole ring of puppets staring at you.
Right.
That's a little weird.
That's when they're really scary, is when they're just sitting there just looking right at you.
And no one's moving them and they're like dead.
Right.
They kind of have this dead look.
Right.
That I don't do, but...
So how did you get into puppeteering?
I got hired by a company that did repertory puppet theater, and they did 5 shows. I did 4 with them. And one of them was done to Pictures at an Exhibition as a Aristides piece.
Right.
So sometimes we would work with live orchestra, and other times we'd be in an elementary school. It was so broad range. Wow. So broad range. And
now, were these marionettes or were these hand puppets?
Mostly what's called bunraku based, which is a Japanese form where the crutch is attached to the head from underneath, and the puppet is operated kind of on the same plane of the body as you are.
Right.
And then you're dressed in a black veil and black clothes, so the focus is on the puppet. And in Japan, the masters of this form of puppetry will have their face revealed because they have earned the right to get the recognition along with the puppet that they're operating. And this was an American version of that. And that's the same form I did in Madame Gothic Flag. That's part of the reason why I think I got hired.
Okay.
It's an unusual form that sometimes you've got 3 people operating a humanoid puppet. Right. One on the head and one arm, another on another arm, and another on the feet.
Okay. So wow. So
close proximity puppetry.
Right. So if you want to make it to the Metropolitan Opera, better grab a puppet.
Well, that was an unusual show. They wanted a dancer who had puppetry experience, and that was an odd call.
Well, you're an unusual person, and you fit a lot of things. So now you're in LA.
Now I'm in LA.
And I've seen your reel. You're acting
which has
real.
to be updated. Naughty me.
I'm sure it has to be updated, but it seems like you play a lot of, say, mentally unstable women. It seems to be a specialty.
And the mentally unstable.
Right.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like playing the villain as opposed to playing the hero.
Right.
You get to stretch a little bit further. You get to play a little bit crazier.
Right.
It's fun.
And you have that. It's in you. There's a crazy side to you. I can see it in your eyes already.
I hope so.
Yes.
Well, we have to be. We're performers. We're putting
Yes.
ourselves out there, you know, telling stories and putting ourselves out there, and, you know, finding the authenticity of who we are and sharing that.
Right. Right.
That's intense stuff.
So you had a dance. You have a dance video on YouTube at Comic-Con.
Oh, that was at Kamikaze.
Or Kamikaze, where you were
Yeah.
dressed as Death from the Sandman series,
Yes.
and you let all the superheroes and all the people there, got them dancing.
Yeah, that was actually through my friend Patrick Ian Moore, who's really he's a comic convention guy.
Right.
He has written comic books, he's a comedian, he runs Comic Book Live,
Okay.
which is an improv group that surrounds the entire comic sphere, right?
Right.
And that was my first convention. So when he said, hey, you should come to this convention, I've never been to one before. And I wanted to find a way to feel artistically interested, because we went on pro passes and that was really cool. And then I had this idea, I shared it with him and he was all on board with it.
It turned out great.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Everyone was
I can
really
imagine.
great.
But I'm sure a lot of people were not familiar with the character, though.
Actually, no, it was the opposite. And Patrick had told me, he said, you are dressing as one of the most loved characters. You know, and people are going to be stopping you constantly to take a photo. I thought, why would they? I'm not, a cosplayer that's famous or anything.
Right.
But they certainly did.
Oh yeah, Death.
Oh my God.
Death was very big at Kamikaze.
Death was big at Comikaze.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people dance. The thing that's great about the cosplay thing is it breaks down the barriers between people who don't know each other. And
Right.
just like me wearing a Damned, dress, somebody who loves that band, we have an opportunity to have a conversation.
Sure.
We express our interests on the way we look.
Right.
And then somebody who is similar, it gives almost that feeling of, I might be able to talk to you, it's okay.
Right.
And that's how this
we know
entire
we have
community
something in
was.
common. Yes.
They were great.
Yeah, and that's not your first. I mean, you've obviously read some Neil Gaiman because
Oh, definitely.
you've started to play.
I
of
was
this.
in Neverwhere in Los Angeles, which was based on Neil Gaiman's book of the same name, and he actually came to the show, and he was awesome.
Right. So you got to meet him.
Yeah. It's great to meet somebody that you've respected their work, and they turn out to be a very kind, supportive, and considerate human being.